Hi again folks, how's all doing? A wee while ago I said I was going to do a video on turning an old wagon into a makeshift tender with pickups for a 040 locomotive. This is the Caledonian 040 that was very kindly sent to me by Martin a wee while ago. Now, as you may know, I've already got one of these that I've added a makeshift tender to. And it makes a big difference having the makeshift tender with pickups hardwired to the locomotive. It means there's no stuttering or stopping on points and crossings. An 040 should be fine on most points and crossings, so long as everything is perfectly level. Unfortunately, the reality is often a bit different, and you'll often encounter a loss of pickup with these wee 040s at some point. But adding the hardwired makeshift tender really solves that problem. The good thing is that the real thing would often have wee makeshift tenders as well, so it's quite a prototypical thing to do. Right, so I've got my locomotive. Now you want to use a small plank wagon for this ideally, so I'm going to use this old triangle wagon for my tender. So to do this I'm going to need some thin wire, some metal wheels, some pickups, and I need to make some removable coal load for the tender, so I need some coal and a wee bit polystyrene, and also some cling film. Right, okay, let's make a start. Alright, okay then, we'll finally make a start on this little job. I think this will probably be a short series of videos rather than just the one video, but we'll see how we get on. So I'm going to put the locomotive aside and concentrate on this little wagon. This is a little triangle wagon. You can pick these up for a couple of quid. I saw them at the Perth Model Railway exhibition going for about £2.50. But they're perfect for this little job. You know, they're not too deep, and that's easily detachable. We just need to fit some new wheels, sort out the coal load, fit pickups, take that coupling off the front, probably those buffers as well. So if you don't like seeing old triangle wagons butchered, you maybe want to look away. So, right, okay. First thing to do is to make a coal load. At least that's the first thing I'm going to do. Now to do that, I'm going to use a bit of polystyrene, and I'm just going to draw around and make a piece that will fit inside the wagon. I'm going to use my hot wire to cut this. Once it gets hot enough, it should do it. That, cut that, like so. And it's going to be too big to fit in at the moment, so we need to trim it down a wee bit more. There we go. So that fits in there quite snugly, so we just want to trim off the excess. That. Just lift this out. Now I'm going to shape this so it's thinner at one end than the other, like that, and then just round it off with just a wee bit at the sides. Like so. Alright, I'm not too happy with that. I've taken a bit too much off there. I'll just quickly do this again. I'm going to have to go and get another bit of polystyrene. I'll be back in a sec. Right, we'll try again. You don't have to use polystyrene for this. You could just use a piece of card. There's more than one way to skin a cat, but I think this is quite a good way to do this. Right, okay. Take that out again. Trying to be a bit careful this time, don't take too much off. That's better. And just round off the edges a wee bit. That's better. There, now we've got a little base to put the coal on. It's quite important that the coal load is removable and easily removable. And using the polystyrene, we'll put some PVA glue on here. You add the coal load, let it set, we'll pour some more glue on, and you end up with a nice solid little coal load that you can pull out easily should you need to get access to the pickups that will fit later. Right, I'm going to take this out just now, and this is where the cling film comes in. I'm going to put the cling film over there, and then put the polystyrene in, because I don't want the coal to stick to the sides of the wagon. So by putting the cling film in, it won't do so. So we need to get some PVA on this. Just put some PVA glue onto the polystyrene. Be quite generous with it. Like so. And then we get our coal. This is Pectin Scenics double low gauge coal. Seen some coal loads and the pieces of coal always look too big, but this looks pretty good, this stuff. So we'll pour it in. Want it to be shallower at this end. I'm just thinking there, it would have been quite a good idea to paint the polystyrene black before gluing the coal in place. I'm just going to spray some water on this. It's like doing ballast. If you don't spray it with water, the glue won't go into the coal. Give that a good soaking with some watered down PVA. Like so. So I'm going to have to leave that to set. Just see if I can gently shift it. I don't want to disturb it too much. But we'll leave it to set for a good 24 hours, and then once it's set, it should just lift out, peel off the cling film, and I should have my removable coal load. That's the idea anyway. Now, onto this. I'm going to take these wheels out, and I've got some replacement wheels. So these are Hornby metal spoked wagon wheels. What diameter are they? 12.5mm. So they should pop straight in. They're insulated at both ends. So the pickups that we're going to add will need to touch the wheels, not the axles. But they're fine. Now the other thing we need to think about doing is coupling this up to the locomotive. On the other one that I did, I didn't use a coupling. I took the coupling off, and the wires going from the locomotive to the tender really were sufficient. It's not going to be pulling a huge load, so just making sure the wires were tight, and it's worked fine. But I think we will make a little drawbar for this, but I'm going to have to take this coupling off. Just put some oil on the drill. And off it comes. Now, we want to couple it fairly close, but we don't need these buffers. And this is where some people will get a bit squeamish, cutting off the buffers from an old trying wagon. But we don't need them, so off they come. So we can now get that coupled up fairly close. We don't need to remove this coupling. I wouldn't want to, because it's all part of the underframe, so best to leave it. But that should couple up pretty close. Now, I've got to figure out how I'm going to couple this up. Right, I'm just going to cut a length of cable tie here. This is just an idea. I haven't tried this before. But I think I might be able to make a drawbar out of this bit cable tie. So if it screws onto there, there's a little bend on it. Would that fit onto there? Yeah, I think it might. Now I can get it up to about there. Yeah, we'll try that. I'll cut it about there. Okay, so what I'm thinking is, I screw this little piece of cable tie onto there, just where my finger is there, and then it'll get screwed in to that little hole that held the coupling in place on the other end of the cable tie. So the cable tie will act like a little drawbar. I'm thinking of using these little crank pin screws because it's got little shoulders on. So we'll give it a go. This is why I think this might be a little series of videos rather than just the one video, because there's going to be a bit of trial and error involved. Because when I did it before, I did it a slightly different way, but you learn when you do something one way. I've had better ideas this time. We'll need to drill through there, drill through there. That's it. Okay. Right, that screws in fine. screw's going to be visible there, but we can paint that black. It'll be okay. Now I need to make this hole a little bit bigger than it currently is. Right, I think that'll do it. There we go, that's that screwed on. So now we need to screw it into there. Okay, question is, will that screw into there? No, it won't. There we go. Right, parallel pliers, great things. So I'm going to fill this hole up with baking powder and super glue. Where's the baking powder? I think it's down in the kitchen. Right, okay, got my baking powder. I think what we'll do first of all is put a little piece of tape in there just to block the hole up. I'm going to put a drop of super glue down in there. And then some baking powder. And then another drop of super glue. That. Maybe a wee bit too much. Tissue. That. And then another wee drop baking powder. I like to layer super glue and baking powder. I don't just like to pour super glue and then put baking powder or vice versa. I do a bit of super glue, a bit of baking powder, a bit of super glue and a bit of baking powder. And that should set nice and hard. There we go. But we'll give it a little while to set before we go drilling into it, because even though it's set on the outside, it could be a bit soft on the inside, and when you drill into it, you know, the outside's like a crust, and you break through that and then it all just disintegrates. So give it time to set, and then we'll drill a wee hole in there. Should be able to take this tape off though. You can actually see down in there, if I get the endoscope in, you can see the other end of the hole. The super glue is still wet, so we'll put some baking powder down there as well. Like that. So while that and my coal load harden, I think that's probably a good point to call this the end of part 1. we shall continue with part 2, where hopefully we'll have a removable coal load. We'll get the drawbar screwed up, and then we'll look at getting the pickups installed. Catch us later, folks.